this is what's so great about, I think, creator marketing nowadays is like you don't have to be an influencer. It could be absolutely anybody who loves the product, who has more than 1,000 followers, and they can make a video, and that video can blow up.
Hey Annie, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, me too. Today we talk about, very fun stuff, right? On the business side, but also what does it mean to create a brand from scratch and, your appearance on Shark Tank and, getting different cultures together on social media. So very excited about this episode. Before we get started, the way how we know a bit more about our guest, it is using the map that is basically is the very free section, right? So it's the mission. What do you aim to achieve? The achievements, anything that you're very proud of, any notable milestone could be in your life, in your career, or both. And the last one is the purpose. So why do you do what you do?
Oh, I love that. Okay, for what I want to achieve is to inspire other people. If anybody has an idea that they just know could work, I hope that me sharing my story works. Achievements, so many. I think professionally, seeing my product in the stores for the first time, I'll never forget that moment. Seeing my dad hold the bottle for the first time, being on Shark Tank. But from a personal standpoint, my parents seeing their sacrifices pay off for me and my sister being in this country, priceless. I love that Latinos can take up space anywhere they go. So I want them to take up space in business and in the grocery store aisle and on TikTok and everywhere else. So I think that's part of the purpose.
Fantastic. And you already mentioned right now, so about the Shark Tank appearance, and I would like to know a bit more about that because there are so many episodes. I watch them, not them all, but like a lot of them, right? And so all the time you can learn something different, right? But when you watch it from like TV, it's 30 minutes, right? I know that usually like 2 or 3 hours of recording, and they cut a lot of things. There is a lot of pressure. So why don't you tell us a bit more about that experience, and also how did it help in terms of publicity after that it aired?
Absolutely. So, I mean, like most people, I've been watching Shark Tank my entire life. I was watching it when I lived in Mexico. Like I would watch, I watched the first couple seasons, and but always love the show. It's always a dream to go. And you're right. Like it's usually we tend to see 10 minutes of the kind of like the interview process and the negotiation. Usually that's between 40 minutes to an hour, and it's a real business discussion. Like there's 100 other people on set, but it's only the sharks and you who are talking. Nobody else intervenes. You only have one chance to do your monologue, which is a question that people ask a lot. Like you get it right, you get it right. And it was an exciting, it was an amazing experience. I loved it. It was crazy and intense and a real business conversation. But I will say, since being on the show, I have not been able to watch another episode because I get so nervous for the entrepreneurs. Like I feel how I'm like, oh my God, I know where you walked. I know how nervous you were. It's like it kind of changes the experience a little bit.
No, I can imagine that. Once you've been there, you already know like, okay, they're gonna ask these, and if he doesn't know these, he's gonna go in that direction. It's gonna be good and so on. So I can only imagine that. And so how did you use that? I mean, I'm pretty sure, of course, I saw some of your own videos where you commented, right? Like some clips on TikTok. So of course, we all know, right? It helps, right, for publicity. But is there anything else that you learned from that process on being there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really teaches you how to give an elevator pitch of your business, which is always needed, and how to know your numbers like straight or back. Like, I think for me, the biggest challenge and the biggest lesson was that chamoy is something that is very close to my culture. So anybody who's Mexican, a lot of people who are Latino, if you live in California, Texas, you know what chamoy is. The sharks were none of them had Hispanic descent. They were all discovering chamoy for the first time. So it does teach you how to speak about your product, especially if it's a cultural product to a completely new audience into America. So like right after the episode aired, what was really, really amazing and rewarding was we received hundreds of emails per night. And, we had like 17,000 people on the website at one point at the same time. It was insane. But a lot of those people were saying, hey, this is the first time I'm trying Chamoy. I've never heard of it. I saw you on Shark Tank and now I love it, or I can't wait to try it, or that is kind of like shows you the power of the platform like Shark Tank. And also like, oh, there's like so many potential customers that I haven't even tapped into yet because they're just discovering what this specific product is for the first time.
And so for people listening today, what is the product? Like again, what is going to be the elevator pitch that I don't know if it's going to be the same that you use as our Shark Tank or something different. Maybe you change it new flavors and sauce. But I'm curious for people that might not know the product yet.
Sure. So chamoy is a Mexican candy sauce. So it's basically Mexican candy liquefied. If you've never had Mexican candy, think of it like a Mexican teriyaki sauce. Sweet, spicy, and tangy. Usually it's packed with sugar and it's delicious. My version is a diabetic friendly version. So we use monk fruit instead of sugar. We use no artificial dyes and it has significantly less sodium. And it's enjoyed over fruits, vegetables, drinks. I mean, it just makes everything taste delicious and like it's not good for you, but if you use a chamoy, it's fantastic.
Amazing. Can imagine that. And so let's go a bit more in detail when it comes to how to promote right something because again, Shark Tank it's a different format, but then you can use clips and so on. But that's done, right? You cannot reshoot it, right? You cannot do too much about it. What we can do it is to create your own content, getting influencers, content creators talking about the product. You can organize giveaways, you can do whatever you want, right? In that. So let's go a bit more in detail when it comes to your own promotional content. I saw that yourself like you're making videos. I saw yourself like a video where you bought your own product and you were like, it's so cool that I can do it, right? I just like because it's mine, why not, right? So let's talk a bit more about all these, like all the social commerce aspects. Is that something that you started from day one? Like, did you start it primarily like DTC and did you manage everything online before going to retail? Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, to me, I had no experience in the food industry, but I had some experience in the e-commerce, like t-shirts, merch, stuff like that. So I kind of treated the food category as if it was like a sneaker drop. So I was like, I'm gonna, because that's the only thing I knew. So I went DTC, direct to consumer, and the strategy behind that was as well cash flow. It's if you work with a big retail partner, they pay you 15, 30, 60 days after you deliver the product. Some pay you 6 months after. That's not great for a startup business. That's not great for somebody new. With DTC, it's like you get paid before you even deliver the product. Yes, you're delivering in 2 days, but still, it does make a difference. So for us, that made us a very, very healthy business from the start. And then to your point, like what was the first things I did? I did everything that was free because there was no marketing budget. So social media, we started with 0 followers, and I just started posting why I started the business. These weren't professional videos. Till this day, we don't shoot any professional footage. It's me with a phone, me showing you how our product is made, showing you how people react to it. And I think we're living in an age where people appreciate that authenticity. I always say it's not like the CEO of Coca-Cola can like record himself buying the product or the grocery store, but it's something that small businesses can do, and it really inspires your potential customer base.
And I know that it depends by different goals and everything. But have you identified the best social media for you? Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Right? Like we're finding out that all the time that people think that TikTok is the best, but it depends by the personas that you're selling to. If you're doing bundles, if you do different offers, it depends by the geolocation right they're buying from. So
Yeah.
have you something like do you have anyone that like any of those that you prefer? Are you still testing them out all together at the same time? Are you like doing different percentage of budgets and time effort that you put in?
Yeah, so if you would have asked me like when we launched, I think TikTok had the biggest impact in our business by far, by far. Like the reach is insane. The fact that now TikTok Shop exists is huge. And I will tell you, we've seen a lot of success with Instagram, specifically with Reels I would say in the last year. So Instagram grows a bit slower from a follower count, but when it comes to views and when it comes to reach, it's pretty impressive. Facebook, we dabble a little bit. I think Facebook is great for like community management, for like answering questions, stuff like that. But for now, those are like TikTok and Instagram are kind of like our main priority. And we tend to do video. So just video across the board for us. Vertical video is a killer for us. That's great.
What type of videos are working the best for you? Is it like when you film yourself going to again, retail, like and buy your own product? Is it when you ask people on the street to maybe test the product, or is it like influencer content? Again, is there something that works, or like is there a sort of 80/20? Pareto principle there? Have you identified something?
Yeah, it's a mix. I will say, like, I will tell you, like, the ones that work the least is the trending ones. So, like, a lot of people come up to me and be like, "Oh, but I cannot keep up with the trends," and I'm like, "Oh, those don't even work for me." I think to me, like, vlog style when I'm like, "Hey, I'm bringing you with you to like, try this new product that I'm making, or help me pick the best packaging. A lot of content with my dad. Like if I go to the grocery store and I'm doing sampling, I like bringing people with me. They really enjoy that. And then sprinkling in there some recipes do well for us. Funny enough, we're not known for our recipes. I think people take our product and like make whatever they want with it. They like the story element more. And then, maybe 5-10% of the content that does really well is trending video. But I would say to people, like, they just kind of want to know why you're doing it and how you're doing it for the most part.
Totally. No, we discussed this about, another episode where we said the importance these days of, especially for startups and new products, of seeing the behind the scene, right? They want to see that you have certain values, that you are producing things where, it's cruelty free and everything is like, it's made in a certain way. The DNA behind that, they also the people behind that, right? And in your case also, there is, a story behind that. People want to see that. And something also, I saw another video where the label was chosen right and designed thanks to TikTok. So can you tell me a bit more also, like, how do you use comments and feedback from people to co-create something? Is it easy? Is it something that it takes a lot of iteration? Because the idea is, oh, of course I'm gonna get the feedback from people, I'm gonna do it, but then I'm pretty sure that there is a lot going on there. So do you do it all the time? Do you do it just for some drop, let's say, for specific flavors?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because historically, it's always been fantastic for us when it comes to anticipating a drop. So for the mango flavor, which was the second SKU we ever released, we made it a big deal. We let them choose what flavor we were going to release first. We let them design the label, meaning like, I knew the label. I wanted it to be in the mango colors, but I had 4 different color palettes that I wanted them to help me pick from. And I think the thing that could potentially scare small business owners and entrepreneurs the most is like you're asking for opinions, you're gonna get opinions. So that's the only thing you kind of have to have a thick skin because there's gonna be a lot of things that they're gonna tell you it's a bad idea. And you're gonna receive not every comment that you receive you have to follow, but it really created an exciting momentum with our audience. So, the moment that I was like, okay, we picked the label, thank you guys, they were like, okay, but when is it dropping? Okay, but I want to buy it. But what like and it's so it gave us a very, very successful drop. And we've been doing it for the majority of the products ever since. Yeah, it's just it's never been a bad idea. So if any small business owners are able to do that, by all means, find a way that you can gauge the opinion of your customer base.
Is your brand ready to amplify its reach? Well, the Influencer Marketing Factory is here for you. We are a global influencer marketing agency helping brands ignite their growth. From influencer identification to campaign strategy, handling legalities and agreements, to managing shipping and logistics, we got you all covered. We work with hundreds of brands across different verticals, from Fortune 500 companies to direct-to-consumer brands. And we don't just stop there. With detailed ROI analysis, we help brands like yours measure success, transforming impressions into conversions. You can find us at theinfluencermarketingfactory.com or just searching the Influencer Marketing Factory on Google.
And there are other best practices when it comes primarily again, on the DTC. So like if there are other entrepreneurs out there today, or like maybe brand marketers that want to launch something by themselves, anything else that you learned that you would like to share with them?
I think marketing is the perfect mix of art and science, right? So I love the art part. I love like that storytelling, and it's exciting. Like if I'm on social media and I see a video, it doesn't even have to be a video from a business. This could be about anything, right? And I stop and watch more than 5 seconds, then I'm like, why did I watch it, right? I'm like, what emotions did it like? Did it ignite in me? And then the rest is look at the data, right? Like look at retention when it comes to social media. Look at retention rates. Like how long is your customer watching? Like for example, I noticed that the videos where for 50% of the video, 50% of people watched, those videos do great. Like they tend to go viral, right? And then you pay attention to the video and you're like, oh yeah, like I proposed a problem at the beginning of the video and told them that the solution was going to be at the end. So the majority of them are watching the entire way through. So it is like I think a big issue that a lot of creators or entrepreneurs get into is like because it's our baby, right? It's our business. We assume that everybody is gonna cares about it and everybody's gonna listen to everything we say and everybody's gonna find it exciting. And that's just not the truth. Like you kind of have to be like realistic with yourself. Be like, okay, how do I need to phrase this story so like the regular schmegular person on social media will feel passionate about it. So it's a lot of that. And then from a DTC standpoint, like something that was really great for us was that from day one, we've been collecting newsletter information, emails. We have zip codes. So like now, we launched in retail a year later, and we had the most profitable zip codes. And we were able to give that to our grocery store partners and be like, our audiences are here, right? And if we launch, we're launching in the East Coast in a couple of weeks, we have all the zip codes. So I can be like, I can send an email blast to those zip codes and be like, yo, you can find us in this grocery store now. So plan now, even if it's super, super small, because in a couple months, in a couple years, what you did at the beginning might be really, really amazing.
Absolutely. Better to have more data from the beginning, right? Than going back and trying to retrieve it, because that is going to be quite difficult. The more you grow, right? Exactly, exactly. And so, what about instead when it comes to influencer marketing, right? The content creators, how do we approach it? Because, like in the past, many episodes we talk about it, or different type of brands, small, medium, big, and all the time there is different approaches, right? There are brands that are like, you know what, this is the product. You do whatever you want with your own style, tone of voice, and whatever. Other brands are more like dictating on specific script to say. Others are a bit in the middle, like use your style, but these are the guidelines. Where are you in these sort of like, sphere?
I'm full liberty. I'm like, say whatever you want to say. Like, there's kind of two different types of creators that we work with. One is like through the affiliate program on TikTok Shop. It has
Mhm.
been really incredible for us. So there, we don't pick and choose which creators we work with, right? Anybody. And this is what's so great about, I think, creator marketing nowadays is like, you don't have to be an influencer. It could be absolutely anybody who loves the product, who has more than 1,000 followers, and they can make a video, and that video can blow up, right? That there's some creators that made $20,000 on commission just from posting authentic content with their chamoy. I love that, and they can have their liberties. And then there's some creators that we do reach out to. There's a creator that we're going to work with this week who I'm so excited about. She's this mom. She works in the fruit fields in California, and part of the culture. There's just something about this creator that's just like, I'm like, that's I Love Chamoy. Like that matches. So we reach out to them. We want to work with you. All they have to do is tag the product. Other than that, I'm like, I like them having creative liberty because they know how to talk to their audience better than I know how to talk to their audience. So that has been pretty successful for us. Maybe in the future it will change, but for now, doing that has been really great. And we've also been doing a couple in-person events. So like we sponsored a couple Latina-centered comedy shows in LA and New York. Stuff like that has been really exciting for us as well.
So, all this type of content, right? So the TikTok videos, the Instagram reels, even when you go to retail, it's all like, asynchronous, right? Because you post something, people can comment, right? But it doesn't happen in real time. What happens in real time is live shopping, right? We discussed already in other episodes how it's getting bigger as a thing. It's still a very niche market, relate, like, compared to, let's say, China, right? Or Indonesia or other markets, but it's getting there. So I would like to know a bit more, like, first of all, like if you already experimented and tested live shopping, and if so, have you identified what works and what doesn't? Because it's difficult, right, to do live shopping in a proper way, because it takes like a good host, 6 hours sometimes of live streaming non-stop, a lot of curry, a lot of energy. So first of all, have you done it yourself, and or did you like had another host? Tell me a bit more about that, because I'm quite curious to see how do you approach live shopping.
Absolutely. No, we've done live shopping. We're currently still trying to crack it. Like you said, it's 6 hours. Like you really have to give it 3 to 6 hours. But it's every time we go live, it's been successful. So right now we're going live 3 times a week. Every time we do 2 to 3 hours, and like we're slowly trying to increase that. And yeah, we notice at the moment we hit hour and a half, we see more people coming in. What we've learned as well, and I have other friends who have TikTok shop businesses who I've met through the industry, and they give great advice. They have like something that someone told me was like, you want to have like one heavily discounted product, the product that's bringing people in, but then you have your shiny product, and that is where your better margin is, right? So let's say, guys, like this product that we have maybe excess inventory on or whatever, we're doing a 50% off sale. But then, guys, while you're here, like this is 15% off, and this is where you kind of get your margins. So there's so many strategies, and they kind of work differently for different people. But I think like the more that you can entertain, the more that you can engage with your audience, the more that you can be high energy, and the more consistent that you can be. So for us, now we have a schedule. We're sticking to that, and then slowly but surely, if we could eventually build up to going live every single day, that would be amazing.
Yeah, because exactly that was one of the things I wanted to discuss about incentives, right? Because all the time what I say is that why should I be watching a live shopping thing if there are no discounts, there are no drop collections? At that point, I can just go on Amazon, I can do their direct website whenever I want instead of like wasting my time, right? And so you said that, right? So you do sometimes bundles, sometimes you do a big, discount. How do you analyze the data after the single event, right? Like, is it through TikTok, like live shopping? Is it something that you do on the side? Like, how can you understand, in addition to, of course, how much you sold, if it was successful, and how do you learn what to test for the next time?
TikTok does provide you all the data after the live, right? And you just get to match it. So you start seeing spikes where you're like, okay, we grew a lot in followers during this part, right? And it just happens to be the part where you're like telling everybody, hey, I'm gonna do a giveaway once we get to like 100,000 likes. So people are going crazy. Guys, share this video once more people join. I'm gonna go do a giveaway. So like you see a spike. So I'm like, people will follow. If you have them engaged, people will do what you're asking them to do. And then other times is like, okay, guys, we're gonna do a flash sale in 10 minutes. During those 10 minutes, you see a spike in sales, right? And the moment those 10 minutes are off, it's down. But you can also be like, hey, I might do another one, and in 30 minutes, people will stay. I don't know. I have no idea how people are like watching, like what they're doing at the same time. I'm fascinated. I would love to know. But there are correlations that you can find with the spikes and the best performing moments of your live, and then also the low moments. Like there was a time where I was like, oh guys, I'm gonna call out like who is shopping, right? So I'm looking at my computer and not looking at the audience, and you start seeing people become disengaged, like they want to talk to you. So when we tend to plan for the next live, it's like, okay, the giveaways work really well. How can I hit all the notes and hopefully have a more successful one than the day before?
And what is the type of like real-time feedback or questions? Is it about a product? Is it about, again, do they ask you about, let's say, like, they get in after 20 minutes, right? There was already a drop or something. Do they ask you like, oh, when is the next one? Like, what type of questions do they actually usually ask for a product like this?
There's a lot of people that come in for the first text. A lot of people ask like, what is chamoy, right? Like we get that a lot. What should I eat it with? You get a lot of comments of people being like, can the next flavor be this? Can the next, people get very excited about that. And then sometimes people want to know about, your personal life. Sometimes people want to know like where you make the product. If there's times where I've had a friend on the live and they're asking questions. If I'm talking about the Shark Tank experience, I want to ask about that. But very often it's similar to the same questions we get on our feed. It's just people, you answer the question and they might ask a follow-up. And people like when you call out their names, but you say like, oh man, I'm answering this person's question, like, and stuff like that. I think people feel engaged.
And I have a last question for you, and then please, of course, add anything else on top, and maybe we didn't, cover. I'd love to hear from you. What is missing right now in the industry? So not only related to your product, right? But for anyone that is like has their own product, they want to do live shopping, they want to do more social commerce, they want to use social media, they want to use creators, influencers. What is missing, and what you would like to see happening in the next year?
I think there's so many incredible brands being grown through social media and through e-commerce. I think we're seeing a lot of success with TikTok shop brands. We're seeing a lot of growth, and a lot of people are like, single owners. They self-funded the company like myself. I think it would be great to see an easier way for these brands who have millions of followers, millions of fans and customers around the world, figure out how they can then, if they want to, occupy space in the retail space. Like, how do they? I think there's an opportunity there for somebody to be able to help support these brands, bring them into a bigger market, bring them like outside of the platforms while still playing on the platforms, so they can take up space. I think of, this is an extreme example, but you see Beastables, Mr. Beast's chocolate candy, like, beating Hershey's for the first time. Like it's times are changing, right? And it's like, look, he has a whole team, but I think there's a lot of companies that are geared up to do something similar. And I'm just interested to see what's going to happen if they're going to become competitors of the big guys, if the big guys are going to acquire. Like, I think it's an interesting thing.
Absolutely. No, I do remember many stories of people that started from their own kitchen and then they sold for like almost $1 billion, to the big guys. And some people want to do that, and some others is like, you know what, I don't want to do that because I started this because I wanted to fight, against the usual suspects, right? Taking over with maybe, like again, something that is either like, without sugar or trying to fight a bit all the problems that, especially in the US, right, when it comes to sugar consumption. We also did another episode about that with a similar product. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you today that you want to add? Is there something that you're like closely following, you're excited about, or maybe something about your own product? Maybe if there is anything exciting coming up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm excited. We just released our first seasoning, our first I Love Chamoy seasoning. It's like a think of it like a powdered chamoy, so it's like a sweet tajin. So good. It's so good. It might be my new favorite product from my own company. And then what's exciting is we're gonna use that same seasoning for our candy. So I'm getting the sanded prototype of our candy, which I'm excited because I do believe that's going to be a game changer for us. I keep telling people you can buy a bottle of chamoy at like the airport. You know what I mean? Like you can buy a bag of candy. So I think it's going to open our footprint, our retail footprint. And I'm just excited to share that experience. And if anybody wants to help us pick up the packaging, go to our TikTok. I'm going to be talking about it really soon.
Amazing. Very excited, to see what happens next. Send you, the good vibes for that. And congratulations on everything that you built. It's quite an exciting journey. So we'll continue following that on your social media. And thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
This was the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory, and I'll see you next week.